going on here, Missy? Hello my honeys, it's Emmie. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Emmie. I'm a nutritionist and the creator of the 8-week Slim on Starch program, where you work with me, a mindset coach and a nutrition coach, so that you can lose weight on a plant-based diet, particularly a starch-based plant-based diet. So this is video number 2 of the Healthy Mummy series. If you haven't seen video 1, then go ahead and click the link in the down bar so that you can know what is going on right now. But this video is going to be a current day of eating that my mom is doing before I overhaul her diet. So my mom is already vegan. She eats a very healthy diet, and I would say that she follows my program about 80% of the time. The other 20% is where other things slip in. So if you didn't watch the video below, first off, I told you to watch it. So if you haven't watched it, pause this video and watch it. Have you watched it? Okay. So now that you know, my mom has not had any weight struggles with her 80-20 rule, but she's had cholesterol struggles.
My cholesterol is 265.
So that's a problem. So she's already vegan, she's already plant-based, but her cholesterol is too high right now. So I'm gonna be going through what she's currently eating in a day and showing you guys the swaps that I'm going to make in order to get her cholesterol down. So you should be watching this video if you need to learn how to tighten the screws on your vegan diet because it's just not quite working right now. This is the video that you want to watch. If you're trying out this plant-based, starch-based diet and something is not lining up, then this is the video that you want to be watching. Make sure that you hit subscribe because I upload a new video every Wednesday and Saturday, and you can go to healthymummy.org to learn more about me and my program and how it works and send in an application. So let's go ahead and let's get into my Mama Bear's full day of eating and the tweaks that I want her to make. So let's start out with breakfast. What are we having, Mom?
This is quick oats with flaxseed and cinnamon, and then I put a cup of that, and then a half a cup of vanilla soy milk with water, and then some blueberries.
So as you can see, my mom had her oats and she had those with flaxseed, cinnamon, soy milk, and blueberries. Now, I love the majority of this meal. I love everything. The one thing that I don't love is the soy milk. Now, if you are in a position where you are flying high having your soy milk, then keep flying high. But my mom is struggling, and so we need to tighten the screws. The soy milk that she's using has a ton of added sugar, and soy milk is pretty high in fat, and she's using a really good amount of it. She's using a cup of it, and this isn't the only time that she's gonna have the soy milk during the day. So I'm just gonna make a very small replacement right here, and I'm gonna have her replace the soy milk with water. Now, because she is using the soy milk, it does sort of have that overnight oats feel to it. She doesn't actually cook the oatmeal, so we're gonna have to make a tweak where we're gonna replace the soy milk with just water, and she's gonna have to cook the oatmeal as it is. So in the end here, with the replacement that I have made, I'm just gonna go ahead and replace that soy milk with water. So she'll be having oatmeal made with water. She has some ground flaxseed in there, and she has some cinnamon and some blueberries. That is absolutely terrific, and she will carry on with that for breakfast. Now, during the mid-morning, I caught my mom red-handed in the middle of the act of making a latte. So let's go ahead and see what's going on there. What's going on here, Missy?
I'm making a latte. Alright, so these are a problem. Vanilla soy milk.
Do you measure this or you just go for it?
I count to 3.
Seems reliable.
Cut that out.
So, the coffee itself, I'm not worried about. Go ahead and have your coffee, that's fine. It's not the end of the world. What I am worried about is the fact that she's having another cup of soy milk along with it. So at this point, she's had about 2 cups of soy milk, which is about 8 grams of fat and about 16 grams of added sugar. And we're in a position where we need to tighten the screws, and I'm not loving that. She's basically drinking soy milk by the glass, which is very high in fat and the added sugar. And so I'm gonna ask her to replace this with an herbal tea, or if she would have the coffee black, to have the coffee black, because it's adding up, the amount of soy milk that she's having, and she's counting as her measure. Another thing that I would honest to God rather have her do is, if she's gonna have a cup of soy milk that has all that added junk in it, what is that, 130 calories? I would rather have you have an apple at that time. That's probably the same calorie count. It's gonna make you feel a lot more energized. It's not gonna give you that crash later on, and it's actual food. You're gonna have less of a chance of overeating. If you're drinking your calories, you're just slurping down those calories. That doesn't give you any satiation. That doesn't give you any satiety. You really don't want to be drinking your calories in this scenario. So I would suggest, honest to God, that she either have an herbal tea or she replace that coffee entirely with something like an apple, because it's the same amount of calories and you're actually eating real food.
Eggplant in there, mushrooms, peppers, and that triple onion, and then of course the goodness. Oh, doctor.
Right, so then it was lunchtime. This is where it gets dirty, honeys, because it was time for my mom to have some lunch. So she is eating the leftovers that my dad made from the night before. My dad the night before made his eggplant cacciatore, and I said to him very clearly, I said, okay, Dad, I need you to explain just the ingredients. All you have to do, Dad, is all you have to say to the camera, I just want you to list out the ingredients.
In order, mushrooms. Well, let me back up. Mushrooms that we cook for about 10 at the beginning and then take them off the heat for 5 minutes or so, and then we throw in the garlic for another 5 minutes. And eggplant that we cook for 20 minutes, peppers and onions, diced tomatoes. Truth be told, when the mushrooms are cooked, they have an ounce of oil. And when the eggplant is cooked, it's brushed with an ounce of oil. So there's a couple of ounces of oil in the recipe.
Okay, so the pasta, honestly, I'm fine with it. The vegetables, fantastic. It's the oil that has got to go. Especially in my mom's scenario where she is really worried about her cholesterol, the oil has got to go. And here's the big issue, is my dad says, it's just an ounce, it's just an ounce, it's just an ounce. I've watched him make it, it's not just an ounce. And even if it was just an ounce, each tablespoon of oil is about a half an ounce. So 1 tablespoon is a half ounce, which means that 1 ounce is 2 tablespoons of oil. He says that in the recipe as a whole, he's using 2 ounces of oil, which would mean that he's using 4 tablespoons of oil. 4 tablespoons of oil is nearly 60 grams of fat, 60 grams of fat, and it's about 120 calories for each tablespoon, so that puts you at 500 calories. So that's 500 calories, nearly 60 grams of fat that you are getting from that added oil, if it even is what he says it is. So the teeny tiny amount that he's using is about 60 grams of fat. Now, this meal that they make lasts them about 2 days, where he has 2 servings and she has 2 servings, and they eat the same amount. So if we take those 60 grams and we divide it by 4, that means that every time she's having that bowl of pasta, she's having 15 grams of fat just from the oil itself. So you can only imagine what replacing this with veggie broth or water would do over time. Oil is the most calorically dense food on the planet. It's 4,000 calories per pound. It's loaded with fat. And in her scenario where she is really struggling with her cholesterol, it's gotta go. And so if you are looking to tighten the screws and you're using just a little bit of oil, that just a little bit is packed with fat and calories. All right, I just double checked the mental math that I did. I used to be a math teacher, so I better have done that correctly. But 1 ounce of oil is 250 calories and 30 grams of fat. 15 of those grams of fat are from saturated fats. So that's overwhelming with the amount of calories and fat that is packed into such a tiny amount. Not to mention, heating up olive oil is really not smart because of the free radicals. It has a very low smoking point. It really isn't something that should be cooked with. It isn't something that should be consumed in the first place, but to cook with it is just quite literally adding fuel to the fire. If she was trying to lose weight, I would have us hold off on the pasta and replace it with something else, but the pasta is really not the main concern here, it's the oil. So I would go ahead and replace that oil with veggie broth, and that saves you hundreds of calories, tens of grams of fat, and over time, thousands of calories and hundreds of grams of fat over time, honestly. All right, in the afternoon, my mom had yet another latte, which once again, I'm gonna say replace it with the fruit. And to wash down the latte, that makes no sense. She had a snack, is what I'm trying to say. She also consumed food. And the food that she decided to consume was peanut butter crackers. So peanut butter crackers are not going to be the best thing for her to be eating for a couple of reasons. The first is that she's having the saltines, and the saltines are made with oil. And I think we just learned that anything made with oil is not something that we want to be eating at this time. The peanut butter itself is Skippy peanut butter, which has added oils, added sugar, added salt, and it actually has hydrogenated oils as well, which are trans fat. In her scenario, she's got to let go of these because trans fats are the worst type of fat for somebody struggling with their cholesterol. Because here's the thing. Man, Mom, there's good cholesterol and there's bad cholesterol. When we have those hydrogenated oils, which are trans fats, we heighten our bad cholesterol and we lower our good cholesterol. So it is a double-edged sword because you are heightening the bad cholesterol, lowering the good cholesterol, which throws off your ratio even more. So I'm gonna say, Mom, you gotta completely get rid of this, and we're gonna replace this with something else. There are so many options that you can have instead of this, which after going through the Slim on Starch program, she should know at this point. But we'll do a full day of eating where we will go over what she would eat instead, but this has got to go. And there's plenty of things that she could choose instead at this time to eat, but the Skippy peanut butter is a no-go. And peanut butter on its own is going to be a no-go just because peanut butter is just so high in fat. It's about 2,400 calories per pound. So at the very least, I would say to replace this with fruit before it is time for supper. So let's move on to supper. Let it be known that the scene that you're about to see was not asked for, but the scene that you are about to see shall be received.
So far we've got chickpeas, cherry tomatoes picked in the last 10 minutes, homemade pickles from the garden, red onion, and we're going to have some lettuce. Then we go over to the main course. Corn, and brown rice with paprika, garlic, turmeric, and cumin, and sweet potatoes and onions with chipotle powder and garlic, banana peppers, raisins, homemade sprouts.
Yeah. have lettuce and corn and chickpeas.
Yeah, so go ahead, you can put some corn in,
Yeah, got
you
that.
can do rice, you can do the potatoes, and that is beautiful. Potato was just cooked on a non-stick skillet, no oil, just sweet potatoes, onions, and spices. Monday nights, which is the night that I filmed everything that she was eating, Monday nights my dad makes potatoes, rice, and beans. And so she had a nice big bowl of sweet potatoes. These sweet potatoes were made on the stove, and they were made with spices such as paprika, cumin, and garlic powder, and just water sauteed, absolutely no oil, brown rice that just had some Mexican spices in it, and beans. And she also threw in some other vegetables in here. Now, if she was struggling with weight loss, I would tell her that she needs to really amp up those non-starchy vegetables in there, but in her scenario, she's really just making sure that she can tighten the screws so that she can bring her cholesterol down. And in that scenario, she doesn't need to do anything to help her weight come down. But if you are somebody who's struggling with weight and trying to learn how to tighten the screws, then I would want you to add in some more non-starchy vegetables. This is a very starch heavy supper that she's having, but way to go on this supper, mom and dad. It's completely oil-free, and it is fueled with starches that are going to keep you full and satiated. You probably won't need any dessert after you have this because you're just feeling so nourished and so satiated, and you got some sweetness in there with the sweet potato as well. So way to go on this dinner, 10 out of 10. I hope that you honeys enjoyed this video and that you took something from it and found it informative, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
Woo!